From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Well, colder air is becoming reestablished in the central and eastern portions of the U.S. after a recent warm-up. Over the next 2 weeks, the polar vortex will be active, with the possibility of cold air dominating the weather pattern through the end of the month and into early February. AccuWeather's lead long-range meteorologist Paul Pastelok said that over the next couple of weeks, the jet stream will develop a large buckle with a northward bulge along the Pacific coast and a southward dip centered on the Great Lakes. This setup stretches the polar vortex, sending persistent warmth near the bulge and repeated shots of cold air through the dip. Now, for example, temperatures in Chicago are expected to swing from near average to 10 to 20 degrees below average over the next 1 to 2 weeks. The average high in Chicago is around 32 degrees. In New York City, temperatures will range from near the historical average in the upper 30s to 5 to 10 degrees below during the same period. Now, because of the large, rounded shape of the jet stream dip, it will be difficult for storms in the south to rapidly strengthen along the Atlantic coast and become major snowstorms. Instead, most storms will stay weak, move quickly, and exit out to sea through much of next week. Pastelok explained that very cold air is building back again in western and central Canada, but it will take some time. Now, as that happens, people in the central and eastern states will feel more typical winter cold and colder conditions than during the past couple of weeks. These waves of cold will bring clipper systems and rounds of lake effect snow, snow squalls, and flurries from the Midwest to the Northeast. Later this month and into early February, there is the potential for a more significant shift in the polar vortex. AccuWeather's Alex Dufus said there are some indicators that point toward unusual warmth poking all the way into northern Alaska. That setup could play a role in a major shift of the polar vortex. Depending on snow cover across southern Canada, the Midwest, and the interior Northeast, along with ice cover on the Great Lakes, this has the potential to bring some of the coldest air of the winter. Now, back in December, while the lakes were mostly ice-free, there was extensive snow cover across the north central and interior Northeast. On the coldest December days, temperatures in the Midwest were 20 to 30 degrees below average. And in the Northeast, temperatures were 10 to 20 degrees below average. Snow and ice cover tend to act as an insulator and lock out the warming effects of the ground and water. One way a major storm could develop would be if a roadblock in the atmosphere forms near Greenland, which can trap storms along the Atlantic coast and raise the risk of heavy snow. There are some signs that a large storm could develop late next week, but AccuWeather's long-range team says it is still too early to determine specific details of that potential storm. Well, maybe we'll get some interesting-looking ice rings forming on lakes like what happened to one particular lake in Budapest, Hungary last week. From above, ice rings appear like a bullseye, creating intricate circular patterns on lakes and ponds. Experts say this striking winter phenomenon only forms under the right set of weather conditions. The breathtaking phenomenon known as ice rings or ice swirls was recently spotted in drone video over a frozen lake near Budapest, where temperatures have been in the upper teens and low 20s last week, and snow has been a regular occurrence. A different angle showed similar ice rings on Mirror Lake in New Hampshire. The photo was taken back in 2020 by a delighted nature photographer while ice skating. Now, experts say giant ice rings like these form on lakes or other large bodies of water through a combination of cold weather, snow, and ice. According to Dr. Gordon Giesbrecht, an environmental physiologist at the University of Manitoba, the process begins when the ice sheet is thin enough to allow snow to break through and become saturated with water. He said individual bullseye rings could form in under a minute based on how quickly fluffy snow becomes saturated with water. The result is a stunning winter scene that appears to have been created with a paintbrush. That's all for now. You can find more regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And for your local forecast at your fingertips, download the AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.